Are there any franchises under $10,000 that actually make money? Well, allow us to crush your dreams today and probably save you $10,000. I gotta say, shame on the media for creating these endless articles all on these great franchise opportunities for under $10,000. Articles like this one from CNBC, these low-cost franchises can make you rich. They focus on the $10,000 segment only for one thing, and that is clicks. More people read under $10,000 franchise articles because more people have $10,000 than have $100,000 or more. Now note, first, these articles are never written by franchise experts, but they are written by journalists. And where do they get their information from? From the internet, where we know most of the information is completely wrong or bought and paid for. Even massive industry lists like the Franchise 500 are put together by people with zero franchise experience. We covered that before on the channel. I'll put the link above and at the end. So people surf the web. They see, hey, CNBC, that's a legitimate news outlet. And they say, hey, we can get rich. Marge, we've got $10,000. Maybe we should look at a franchise. And that's how it starts. And many of these poor folks, if not most, lose their money. Now, some of you might be thinking, if there are thousands of people every single year who lose their money to a franchise, why don't we hear about it, right? It's the age of the internet. People would leave bad reviews online, would they not? Well, take a look at this. This is an FDD, or franchise disclosure document. Now, anybody who is selling a franchise by law must register and provide the buyer with an FDD who is selling a franchise. Now, this is an older one. Many companies today do it by electronic means. Now, point being, these are often hundreds and hundreds of pages long in fine print, and even if you do read the whole thing, which most people don't, you could miss one tiny sentence because you don't know where to look, and most people investing $10,000 don't have $2,000 to hire a lawyer to look that over. But here is why you never hear about people who lost their money or want to complain. In fine print, hidden in the text of one FDD, should the franchisee divulge the terms of this amendment to any third party other than their spouse, tax advisor, or attorney, franchisee agrees to pay liquidated damages equal to the franchise fee. Now, that's one little paragraph hidden in thousands of paragraphs that most people don't even read. Buyers get so pumped up by the company salesperson telling you about the few people that did make money, what a great lifestyle, all the other things, and they seem so nice, don't they, that these people just sign the agreement without reading or understanding the disclosure. Now, many franchise agreements, not just $10,000 less, have liquidated damages clauses that can put you on the hook for much more money, even after your franchise closes, and even if it isn't your fault and just because their business model stinks. Also, most franchise agreements have some kind of a non-disclosure order that can hold you financially liable if you reveal anything about your relationship with them. And that's why you rarely hear from people who lose their money or get ripped off. Now, sometimes people who go bankrupt, they just don't care anymore and they do decide to whistleblow. It's a little bit rare, but it does happen. Remember, most of the media makes money from the franchise industry, so exposure to any of these stories is severely throttled. Now, we've interviewed people on the channel here who've lost a lot more than $10,000, like Sharance Henderson. She lost millions of dollars to a franchise, or Marcos Enriquez, who lost over 100,000 euros to a franchise. Now, this is a huge problem, even with franchises costing a lot more than $10,000, but because the media is often tied to the billion-dollar franchising industry, you never hear about it. Now, this is even if the company has an FDD. Now, many don't. They're going to tell you they don't need one. Oh, our lawyer said we don't need one. I'll tell you something. If a company calls itself a franchise, or even if it is a franchise model and they don't call it a franchise as such, by law, they must register and provide you with an FDD. Now, if they didn't, they're illegally selling franchises. Now, many companies do this, right? That's another story altogether, but basically steer clear of any company that is illegally selling franchises. But what is it about these $10,000 and under franchises that makes them fail at such a high rate? Now, consider a franchise with a $50,000 franchise fee. A good franchise is going to allocate a lot more of that money towards franchisee support. And again, good franchises are going to have multiple employees that are dedicated to your success. So always ask the franchise, how many employees are available to help you if you invest? And is it just the owner in their basement collecting your 10 grand and may pick up the phone now and again? Also, in most cases, and consider this when you're looking at these brands, what these businesses have realized is it is easier to package and sell their service as a business than it is to actually sell the service itself. Now, you see the same situation with these internet marketing gurus. When selling on Amazon was a thing and it made a ton of money, nobody sold a course. It was very difficult to figure out how to sell on Amazon. Now, once selling on Amazon became very competitive, there was virtually no money to be made. You saw dozens of gurus now selling you the secret to success. Many of these under $10,000 franchise opportunities, they have the same model and involve some type of sales that is invariably difficult to do. Most of these models, take a look, require you to go out and either sell advertising space or sell a service of some sort, which for most people is very hard to do, particularly when it is a service that's hard to sell to begin with. This is why we see such huge failure rates in these types of franchises. Take a look at this chart. Every FDD is the same format, and the item 20 shows you how many franchises closed over the last 3 years. Now, this is a net number, so any franchises that they sold get subtracted. So the number could actually be higher of the failures. Now, this is a very well-known under $10,000 franchise. I went back to 2013 to see even then they were closing 8 a year, 10 in 1 year, which represented more than 10% of their entire system per year. Now, I checked the website of that same company in 2023. They show a total of 6 locations remaining. So at least 100 people, based on the item 20, and always look at it, have lost their money, and the lying, uninformed media still uses this exact brand in their great franchises under $10,000 to invest in lists. Here's another item 20 for an under $10,000 franchise, very popular one that's featured in many news media. They closed 459 franchises in 2020 alone. Now, pro tip, if you read the agreement portion, it's going to include the names of all of the owners in the franchise system, as well as any that left the system in the past year for any reason at all. Now, there's going to be failures even in good franchises, because sometimes franchisees suck too. But if you see a consistent pattern of failure when you speak to franchise owners and it wasn't their fault, it could save you $10,000. Now, the franchise company, they're going to give you a list of 2 to 3 franchisees to call that they've handpicked, of course. Call them. Yes, you're going to get the good side as well, but also call some people who failed. This is going to give you both sides of the story. Now, have people made money with these $10,000 franchises? Absolutely. But I equate it to diet programs you see online. You only ever hear about the few people that were successful and lost weight, and never hear from the people that failed. Most of these franchises are often a tough grind, and many people fail and lose their money. Make sure that you're a superstar at doing the work that is required, and that your abilities, your goals, everything else matches the people you speak to who succeeded and not those that failed.